Schools in northern parts of the country have significantly been impacted by insecurity, affecting millions of children as a result of mass abductions, violent attacks and kidnappings, creating a climate of fear that forces some state and federal governments to suspend academic activities in schools and institutions of higher learning. However, some of the schools shut down due to insecurity in states like Bauchi, among others, have reopened on January 5th, while others are expected to resume academic activities on January 12, 2026. Niger State is set to reopen schools, while schools located in insecure areas will remain closed until deemed safe. The government is implementing safety measures, including security presence around schools and mandatory student registration. Join us on Nigeria Today as we discuss school safety following the reopening of schools after insecurity-related closures. Thanks for joining us on Nigeria Today. I am your carrier, Clinton. Now, joining me via Zoom for this conversation is the Commissioner of Education in Bauchi State, Dr. Muhammad Lawal Rimin Zayam. Thanks for joining us on the program.
Thank you too, Carrier.
And also with us here in the studio is Dr. Hassan Sadiq Arivi. He's a strategic security expert. It's a pleasure to have you in Nigeria Today.
Thank you for having me. And Happy New Year to you.
Now, I'll start with you, Dr. Zayam. Now, tell us why the reopening of schools, in spite of the many, insecurity concerns that are related to that area.
Good evening, Nigerians and viewers at large. Actually, we have reopened school after the temporary closure of schools based on the security tips we received in respect of insecurity might likely hit us, and for the safety of our students, the environment, and our facilities, we've decided to close. But I want to point this very clear to you and Nigerians that even before the closure, we exhausted the first time academic session. What remains for the state and the schools is just the internal exams, which because of the closure, they were unable to have it. So that is it. So now, after a while, we also had a discussion with the security personnel on ground that Bauchi is very much safe, much more safer than it was before, based on the information, and we decided to reopen our schools. This is what prompted us to reopen our schools. But even amidst all those mixed feelings, Bauchi State government have decided to go into looking into issues that will put our schools into a better and safer hands. That is by fencing, by making all necessary provisions so that our students can be safe, our teachers can be safe, the environment can be very safe for learning, teaching and learning. So these are some of the measures we have seen, and these are some of the things we have considered and reopened these schools.
Now, Dr. Hassan, speaking from the security point of view, what would you say about this reopening?
Yes, thank you for having me. We have to reopen the school because of the academic calendar. But before then, we want to see more of state. How have they put some security measure in place before reopening the schools? I'm happy with the commissioner, what he has said in terms of fencing, which it is what we have been saying over the time, that most of our schools in Nigeria, especially in the state, especially the northern part, most of the lands are not being fenced. The first things is the school structure. With the school structure, we should have the fence that secure the territory with security gate, where you now have security personnel. Then further to also put some security gadget inside, not just to have the fencing. there are a lot of security gadgets that can be put in place so that for the threat, in case of such things, there are alarms that can be blown, especially the boarding school, where the secondary school, the girls, the federal government college will have the boarding school. These are measures that they are supposed to put in place so that the school will now be safe. From there, the children will feel safe in learning environment, not only for the children, including the teachers and the staff of the school. So that will now encourage that the school is safe for learning. So due to all the insecurity we are having today, I think it is even coming late. Most of the states, we don't need to wait until when anything happens before such actions have to be taken. So we should expect that most states today should started fencing the school, primary and secondary school, especially the secondary school that are boarding school, because most of the kidnapping we have had the experience at the boarding school where they went there in the night and that. Then if that has put in place, from there they now have relationship with the security agency, especially the civil defense and the police, where in case of anything, then security patrol will be able to be passing time to time. So it is a good thing that the Bauchi State today has taken that step. But I would still suggest we need to see it physically to be able to see what they have done and for other schools to take the same thing. Not just particular school that this didn't happen. It has to cost across the state. And currently, the state now from federations, they are getting a lot of inflow. So they should be able to vote a lot of money for education security in their state, which goes on the physical structure.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sadiq Hassan. Now, Dr. Zayam, talk to us. Of course, Dr. Hassan raised some pertinent issues here, talking about other schools, not just the ones that were affected, by recent attacks, but also those that have not been attacked, yet. So, how prepared is the state in ensuring that situations like we had doesn't occur in schools that that are well, I won't say yet, that have not been attacked yet?
Actually, let me put this straight to the Nigerians that we have not had any incident of insecurity in our schools. We close our schools based on the advice we receive from security personnel on ground in Bauchi, and because this incident has not hit us, so we've decided to be proactive by closing so that we don't fall victims like other states. Actually, while those under review, we went into a lot of discussion and putting some measures in place, trying to ensure we have solarized our schools that are not they are not 100% NEPA reliance, so that even at night there will be light within the environment. We also take measures by fencing some of these schools in place. As we are talking now, I've gone around some of the local governments. Even this morning, I'm just coming back from my tour to ensure that all those schools that are reopened yesterday are in very good shape and are very secured. These are some of the measures we are putting into consideration. And again, we are engaging the services of the vigilantes and the services of the security personnel within those surrounding environments so that we can have our students well secured and teachers as well as our facilities on ground. So these are some of the things we have taken into consideration, and I believe this will go a long way in safeguarding all these menaces that normally occurs in the northern part of not west of this country. So this is what we do, and my governor, Senator Bala, Dr. Abdul Qadir Mohammed Orombochi, is very passionate ensuring that every child is safe through the ministry and other related agencies. So that is what we are doing at the moment, and we are putting all our eyes on those schools. regardless of either boarding or day schools. They are our schools, and we are taking serious measures to ensure that every aspect that is ours is in safe hands.
Good. Now, Dr. Hassan, of course, you mentioned vigilante, the services of the locals in trying to ensure that we have safety in our schools. Now, how important is intelligent gathering? And how important is it that after, gathering all of this information, it's being used proactively to ensure safety?
Yes. In fact, I'm happy with what the Commissioner is saying. So we are good to go with Bauchi State in general. Bauchi State is one state that since our insecurity over a decade has not been really affected, which means there have been a lot in terms of security. Now, coming back to the issue of vigilante, we've several times suggested that the insecurity we're having are more of a state problems. Now, the forces we have, the police and all that, the presence in some states, how many numbers? Now, by allowing the vigilante to be part is a good idea, because the vigilante at the local, they will be able to get information. Within the vigilante group, they will now create intelligent unit among them, so that those who want to perpetrate this insecurity will be aware that there are other forces who will be coming after them, which will now call offensive capability. Because if they too also aware that there are people who is after their locations before they carry out such actions, then you are already disarming them psychologically. So this is a good thing that they are having. But that does not take them away. The vigilante should not relate with our regular forces because of the arms and arms to use. So this is a good thing that they are now using that, because the state, despite the governor is the chief secretary of the state, but they don't have the control of the federal police. That is why we are also advocating for state police, where it's in the purview of the executive governor of the state. But since we have not yet have that, because it's a constitutional matter, it is good for each state to now engage local security, which the commissioner is now saying the vigilante. Vigilante should be a standby local security. Not only in the night they come, they should be able to make sure they organize it, because they have the terrain, they know their state, they know the red spots, that this vigilante will be able to go into hamlet and check and create that awareness.
So how do we ensure that they don't abuse that? Because we've seen situations where even the vigilante becomes the problem.
Yes, abusing, fine, it is a thing, is again a disadvantage. But even our regular police, there's abused. So we can't take that away, because the benefit of having it is more. So it is now left for the state executive to look at it, especially the commissioner, that look, the essence of having this is for the safety of the state. Then whoever now abuse it, take advantage of it, will now face the law. Then at that time, you could see that the essence of having it is for the security of the state, more than the personal interest they might use it for. But that should not take it away, that they should not go ahead because of the personal abuse. There must be a control and a measure, because it's an organized, despite we call it local. It has the head, it has other supporting staff and all that. Who abuse it will face the punishment and the law.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sadiq Hassan. We're going to take a short break now. This conversation will continue shortly.
The implementation of the ruling is also dependent on another aspect or another arm of government.
Nowhere in the world will allow, under digital economy, for banks not to be dispensing domestic currency in that economy.
What will make this one different?
We want to know what they do as occupation. All of these are attributes that our questions have been designed to investigate.
In a few days to come, you see that we are all around their own crannies and everywhere in Nigeria, telling people to cooperate.
Welcome to Nigeria Today. Welcome back. This is still Nigeria Today. We're talking about safety of schools, and I have two gentlemen, one here in the studio and one that joined us via Zoom. Now, Honorable Commissioner, you talked so much about what's been done to ensure that the schools are safe. Now, you also mentioned that before the closure, the students had exhausted their curriculum for the term, but remaining the internal exams. Okay, so are there measures in place? Because, you know, these insecurity and all of that has a way of affecting students, you know, psychologically. And there is a kind of fear, you know, that goes around with the children always watching across their shoulder because of these. So are there measures in place to ensure that there's a kind of, rehabilitation or something to ensure there's no kind of fear that would affect their academics?
Well, even before the closure, they were not traumatized, so there is no any fear in them. It's just a normal thing, and even before the closure, we told them that the moment the school reopened, they are going to take their internal exams. So there is no any form of rehabilitation than to give them the courage that we are on top of the issue, and they should not panic in any way, because we have measures in place, and certainly by this week, some of them will be starting their internal exams, and the semester will continue, or the second term will still roll immediately after the internal exams. So they were not in any way traumatized even before the closure, because there was nothing wrong. We only hit to advice that was given to the state, and the state took a proactive step in closing the schools. So I believe they are in safe hand and they are okay. No problem in that regard.
I haven't heard that of Bauchi. They seem to be on top of their game. Now we have other schools. We're talking about Niger and the rest of them that had, you know, incidents of kidnappings from the schools. So, what measures do you think these states should put in place to ensure that situations like this don't occur, to, you know, stop an academic session just like we had?
Yes, if the states that were mostly affected, especially the Niger state and the other states in the northeast that affected, yeah, they should make sure that psychologists now comes in. But before then, they have to put the security measure in place in terms of fencing, others, security, and all that, where they can now go on the campaign that the school is safe for learning. Then the psychologists will be able to make sure those children who have been traumatized will now be able to rehab, for them to have the feeling that going to school, it is good, the advantage of it, because we have been kidnapped, that should not be a way to deter you. It is because of their future. That is the essence why such things now happen. So the psychologists have the model, they are expert. The state has to employ those expertise to make sure they put that in place, to be able to rehab those students who have been affected, and now come to those who have not been affected, that should not discourage. But first of all, how have they been able to put those measures in place in terms of safety, which is the first physical aspect of it? It is the school fencing with perimeter fence wire. What are the presence of the security personnel within the school environment? This is what, first of all, give the feeling, and the parent also, because once the parent have been able to see that all these things, the state government is trying their best, they are putting it in this place, then they will be also encourage their children that no, now the school is safe, you can go back to school. You can now see what the man is saying from Bauchi. Yes, they don't have issue to now say they are going for rehab, because they never had such issue. But the reason why he said they stopped the school was because of the intelligent information that the security is getting hit up, school security. On that basis, they closed down the school. Now the children will now resume back. The exam they never took, they will now be able to take it.
But the reason why I asked that question is the fact that, you know, this information has a way of slipping, you know, into the ears of quite persons that aren't supposed to get it. Of course, some of them must have sensed that, okay, there's a problem somewhere, and haven't heard that there are other states that certain situations have been happening. It has a way of, you know, for people that really cannot, they're not really strong enough to, will I say, okay, brace up to say, in spite of it all, I'm still going to school. Some will still be scared and say, something happened. Even some parents will go to the extent of saying, no, you stay at home until we understand what's going on.
Yes, that is why I said it depends now on the state government, because they are the authority. So they are the one now to employ the expertise of in terms of psychologists, where those children have been able to, who are traumatized, how do you be able to make them to have the feel and able to recruit, then and coming back from the traumatization they went through. So it is now left for the state how they do that. The parent will definitely be aware. It's just like you are saying, simply because your child went to write the exam, and at that day the exam now said you are not going to write the exam. They now come back. You now say they should not go back again to write it. No, you will not say so, because there are reasons why as at that time. But those things, when the state put it in place and let the state know, it is a lot of work for the state. That is why we have been saying that the insecurity challenges we are going through in Nigeria today, it is more deposited in the state. So the state has to brace up. That is why we have been advocating for state police, so that we'll be able to help with the federal police.
Okay.
We call it federal police.
Dr. Hassan,
Yes.
you've talked so much about perimeter fencing. You
Yes.
talk about personnel. But you also agree with me that most of the kidnappings that have been taking place have been occurring at night. And, our security personnel most times cannot be there, till, say, late. Even if they stay, it gets to a point where, okay, a little bit of, they relax a little bit, when it appears to be okay. Now, how can we leverage technology? We are in the technology era, quite a lot of innovations. How can we leverage on these innovations to ensure that we secure our schools?
Yes. First of all, when you now build a schools, you put the perimeter fence. This perimeter fence we are talking about, it has its own design of safety. If you are building a concrete wall, how thick it is, what kind of iron rod do you put on the pillar, then what is the height, what are the security spike wire do you put on top, that if you cut it, it will also blow alarm. These are first of all key. Then from there you can now say, okay, within the security, the premises of the school, how do you put a solar light? Solar, it is sun. And Nigeria, we are lucky today, we have a lot of sun deposits in Nigeria, which give us energy. So these are measures that the schools, the state, who are serious, these are measures you put in place. Before you now talk of cameras. But these are the things that are going to be permanent, that can be fixed there. Your gate, how the constructions of the gate. How do you make sure that even if you come, without nobody open the gate from inside, you cannot force the gate open. So these are measures. So when all these measures are put, then they now continue to look at advance into technology, to look at it. Because if you have a camera, there are a lot of cameras today, both day and night. They can picture and snap and everything, the intruder. So this is where they needed to come. But depend on the seriousness of the governor of the state. How did they take education serious? How much budget are they voting for education?
Thank you.
In terms of education security.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sadiq. Now, Dr. Zayam, I want to get your closing thought on this matter. Okay, Dr. Zayam, can you hear me? Okay, we've lost him. The network is not too okay. So, for us to wrap up this conversation, Dr. Sadiq, so talk to us. What are we supposed to see in the couple of months, even in schools that are yet to be reopened?
Yes, we should now start seeing how the states are now preventing the schools within their own ambit of capability. That, okay, we have put this in place, then we'll now be able to see. I was expecting that before now, the Niger State governor should be able to come out and show us what has he done in terms of the schools, especially the school that has this problem. Because some of them, there's no fencing. I've seen it. And we have advocated that, no, the current challenges today require all this to put. So Bauchi has taken the lead, that they are not waiting for such. That is proactive. Security is about proactive, not when things happen before we take action.
Take action.
So
now,
we should take actions before the issue now happens.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hassan Sadiq Arivi, strategic security expert. Thank you so much for coming on the program. And Dr. Zayam, just your closing thought before we finally wrap up this conversation. We seem to be having problems with the network. So thank you very much, Dr. Muhammad Lawal Rimin Zayam. He's the Commissioner of Education in Bauchi State. And thank you for being part of the program. I am Ikaria Clinton. Goodbye.